Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. More on that later. This is Tim. Tim believes in magic, is 5'11", and is a heretic. Don't be like Tim. Age of Wonders 4, a game where you can make an unstoppable undead juggernaut, throw rocks at heretics, and set fire to your own peasants so you can burn a dragon to death with his own fire. There was a recent Giants DLC for this game, and when we combine that with some minor becoming a god emperor of mankind, we're going to enter a dragon civil war on the side of a giant who really hates dragons by making him the most powerful ungodly creature on the entire planet. So the first thing to do in Age of Wonders 4 is to create a custom faction, a ruler, a new race, all of that stuff. Fortunately, I already went ahead and did that in the custom section. This is from my last video. Oh, how I love Cthulhu. But instead of playing as Cthulhu and being followed by a bunch of ravenous mole people, we are instead playing as Jack Skellington, the Frost Giant. Now, of course, our faction is the Imperium of Not Lizards because we are a feudal monarchy society. Our faction does have to have some traits, and besides the fact that we are lizard people riding other larger lizard people, we are also chosen uniters and prolific swarmers. Because the kind of magic we're going to be using is called the Tome of Zeal, which allows us to summon zealots, condemn people for heresy, and create an entire legion of inquisitors. Now we can just go ahead and make the world... Getting greeted by this guy on the menu screen. So what we're going to be doing is actually participating in the Ashen War, which is a scenario which is essentially a massive dragon civil war. And here we are at the intro that is like always 4 FPS for me. I'm not sure why. With the Tome of Zeal, we start with 2 specific spells. The first one is to summon zealots, and they're pretty spammable. They're pretty terrible units, but even worse than them is Call Militia. Now this is a specifically monarchy spell, and let me tell you, this is the dumbest spell in the entire game. I have already covered Age of Wonders 4 on this channel, but basically the idea behind it is, you can think of like the normal map mode of Civilization and all of that stuff. But we do get to cast spells. And the first spell we're going to cast is Call Militia, which is going to summon 2 of these absolutely terrible militia units in our capital. We can just queue up that spell right there. And now we can also send our boy, Army of Jack, to go start clearing out some of the nearby monster dens. In the meantime, we can also just scout around with our crocodile riding crocodile. Let's send Jack over here to clear this little infestation. He is quite large compared to anybody else on these screens. Our first turn of manual combat, and you can see the size of my normal units. They're pretty reasonably sized. And then there's Mr. Skellington. So Jack's got a few really complicated abilities that are very difficult to explain. The first one is, he's just gonna walk over here. And the second ability we're gonna use, and bear with me here, this is a complicated one, Hurl Ice Boulder. We have just a lot of units that are basically very weak, and then we have him. We're gonna end the turn, and I assume they're gonna attack Jack, and yeah, he's not really gonna take that much damage. I'm not really sure what race these archers are, but to be completely honest, I'm not sure Jack cares very much. So they're pretty much just gonna get one more turn, and they're gonna try their best to stab my one guy. They're gonna get retaliation attack because they tried to run away. And then we can just come over here and kill their last unit, and that is an easy first fight. I am gonna come over here and do a second fight as well, which shouldn't be particularly difficult. I don't know why this is, but for whatever reason, the Hurl Ice Boulder seems to almost always have a 100% accuracy. And I'm also not sure where he's finding that ice boulder. But again, this fight is gonna go a lot like the other fights because we've got like a 60-foot tall giant and they don't. Because we are going to turn this man into the strongest single hero entity in the entire world. He is going to be able to kill entire dragons on his own. Every time our hero levels up, we can go and give him a new skill point. And I think from the last time I played this game, the whole skill tree has changed completely. And thank God, because it looks so much better now. And this is going to allow us to go down the basically frenzy tree where every time he attacks, he gets more health, more crit, more movement, and all of these stacking bonuses that will eventually culminate in him being able to regain action points every time he kills someone. But for now, we have to start at the top of the tree to just give him a little more defense and a little bit of max HP. All right, one turn later, and we are going to have... Oh, Whoops, never mind. So this is the part in the Ashen War where we're kind of supposed to choose which side we want to go with. And looking at the names, it kind of reminds me of the heroes in movies and shows that are like, oh, the bad guy could be anyone. He could be Larry. He could be Hank. But one thing's for sure, we know he's definitely not Ali Pavar the Destroyer. Unfortunately, Jack is the worst one, and he's going to end the Ashen War all by himself. Our spell is now ready, so I can come and cast Call Militia, which is going to spawn some militia. Now, they are pretty garbage if I go and check them. I mean, they've got, not really anything good going for them. But the most important part of this unit is that if I look at their upkeep, it is 0. Wait, what? Hold on, I thought it was 1. And if we go into all of our other units that we can build, like our scouts, for example, they are 4 upkeep. Our defenders are 6 upkeep. Our archers are also 6 upkeep. And even our zealots are a whopping 6 upkeep. But that means that we can have 6 militia for the cost of 1 unit. 6 units is the size of an entire army. You can very rapidly see how this gets silly. Call Militia is also not a particularly expensive spell because it only costs gold. So I can just keep using this over and over again and mashing out a ton of militia. Oh, we're gonna meet a giant stone head. I believe these guys are added with the Giants expansion, so, you know, we'll try and help them. They've probably got something useful before us. So we'll ask them for a challenging quest, which is forging the Hammer of the Gods. You know, despite the name, it's kind of underwhelming, but for the time being, we basically just want to keep exploring, finding some new stuff, and drafting basically the whole population of the entire Imperium into a massive militia. And then we can come over here and attack these chaplains, who honestly, it would be better if we could recruit them. Nope, they're not gonna surrender. So they have to face the wrath of like turn 3, and I've already almost got a maxed out set of 3 armies. We'll just give our boy a standard for a little bit of temporary health, and then walk on over here and deal like half their damage in HP. And we can just finish them off by pulling out the ice boulder from our pocket. Oh, nice. We're gonna meet our first free city, which is basically like a city-state. I don't know if these guys are good alignment, bad alignment. Oh, they're good alignment. I'm also really good at breaking international treaties. So we could give them a Whispering Stone. That's basically just gonna start to increase their relations with us. Eventually, our goal is to just vassalize all of these cities. And another free city, don't mind if I do. They're actually getting assaulted by the brigand camp that is spawned right next to them. We are gonna come over and save them, of course, for definitely selfless purposes and not for the purpose of forceful vassalization. We've also got our first empire development skill over here. These are basically kind of like tech trees, sort of, that go up slowly as we have more alignment with certain things. So we are pretty far in the order affinity, which don't mistake that for being good. It just means that we are excellent at having vassals. So if we destroy an infestation now, we can get plus 300 relations with free cities, which is going to be very helpful since we are just going to walk over here and destroy this infestation. This is not going to be even remotely close, is it? Okay, hold on a minute. I'm sorry. I just got legs of swiftness. These are just new legs. If resurrected skeletons did exist in real life, do you think they just mix and match the body parts? Now guys, I'm not gonna lie, Age of Wonders 4 is a paradox game, so that means to afford it and its DLCs, I've had to mortgage my house, max out my credit card, sell one of my kidneys, and talk about the sponsor of this video, War Thunder. As the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, it's now free on PC, consoles, and a newly released mobile version too. Recently, I just set up my new computer, which is a toaster powered by the graphite I stole from Chernobyl. Even with my house melting down, I could still play War Thunder because the game is heavily optimized for all kinds of systems. All I need is a hazmat suit, a really good lawyer, and my keyboard and mouse. And if you like military history, no game is better at showing you what it felt like to serve in Eastern Europe any day of the last 100 years. With authentic graphics, sound effects, and detailed vehicles, the game really lets you experience full frontal lobotomy as you take one of the 2,500 vehicles and drive it off a cliff. Naval vessels, modern helicopters, and a 1944 mouse that looks like a genetically engineered dog that never should have been born. You can use the link on screen or in the description for a massive bonus pack for both new and returning players of 6 months, premium currency, new vehicles, and other free loot. Now, back to the video. Oh, hey, Mr. Brimstone Leviathan Ali Pavar the Destroyer. Personality, demonic warlord. Now, there's really no way of telling whether this guy dislikes us or not. It's just we don't have the technology. And it seems like we also just discovered a bunch of our opponents. There is this random guy. Of all the people that look good or evil, you look the most unapologetically evil. Okay, nice. So we just researched Legion of Zeal, and that is going to allow us to cast, right after this cast, the Legion of Zeal spell, which is essentially going to give all of our units Zeal, which will make them deal extra damage against condemned units. Surprise, surprise, I'm basically condemning everyone that isn't me, which I believe that should also affect even our militia. Yes, it does. That is so silly. So now we're going to take those blessed pitchforks and destroy another brigand camp, and we'll get another level up, and we will grab Frenzy. So every time this unit lands an attack, it gains a stack of Strengthened. Because we're using a massive war axe, it's going to be 2 stacks, and Strengthened is plus 10% for us, plus 20% damage. I really enjoy it when I get to walk into a fight where oh wait, hold on, apparently these guys are trying to surrender, whatever made-up word that is. We are going to come over here and establish an outpost all the ways down here, so we can eventually turn that into a city. A friendship with you was declared. I just read declared first, and I thought that meant war. Of course, it's the really evil looking guy. Personality, sinister spy, interested in money. So one of the other spells we have access to is to summon an ice rune stele, and we can put that probably just right here, and that is going to start slowly terraforming everything around it in the environment into ice. We can also do this neat trick. It's called not feed our people to increase production, and this free city is actually going to become a vassal now, which is great. Share some income, but more importantly, contribute to the rally of the lieges. So this is a thing where we get to basically every so often draft units in mass from all of our vassals. We're also going to finish the work camp at our outpost. That does not look like a very happy place, I'm not gonna lie. So it's the perfect location to found a city. Oh my god, how did I not realize that until just now? The face on the outpost of him just looking straight at the camera. 1,000-yard stare deadpan. Our next quest for those massive stone people is to take on a rogue army over here with a fire giant, a nightmare, a whole bunch of pretty decently high tier units. But it is also very fortunate that we just got our special ability, which is called Condemnation. We're also going to be able to pick another Tome of Magic so we can get a whole new set of spells. So we're actually going to do the Tome of the Horde, which is going to give us basically some more buffs to our tier 1 units, but more importantly, some chaos affinity, which we'll need later down the line. And then we could go into what is, it says safe battle, but I mean, it is nice that we just have these huge stacks of militia. So we are going to have to poke down this fire giant to death with pitchforks, essentially. Now everybody knows that giants have a handshake, secret only to them. All we have to do is get behind them and hit them with the old double slam to break their guard. Do we have fire resistance on anyone? No. Am I still going to walk all my militia through the flames? Yes. Even though he is still going to deal... Oh, I'm so sorry, my poor militia. I'm proud to announce that I think we have successfully set half of our units on fire. Oh my god, they've got 5 stacks of burning. They take 20 damage every turn. You know, you think this is bad, but back in my day, we had to walk through a pit of burning sulfur just to get to school. Uphill both ways. So we are definitely gonna take a critical rune, and that's gonna give us a bit more crit chance. And then over here, we could actually get Keen Edge for more critical hit chance. And then we can get the critical momentum, so whenever he crits, he gets more temporary hit points and hasten. Have you ever tasted Vampire Spider Matriarch, my Everfrost Emperor? I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not. Nor do I think any other sane person in the entirety of existence has done so. It is said to be quite sweet. Yeah, I'm sure by the one guy who tried to eat it and then died 6 hours later to dysentery. Anyway, yeah, sure, I'll help you hunt it. And the matriarch is apparently just waiting over here for someone to come and eat it, as one does, which is why I am going to condemn her for some kind of specific heresy that I could not name at this exact moment. At last, the flesh of the vampire spider matriarch is mine.
Finally. some good fucking food.
All right, so we should be able to do two big things now. The first one is trade these guys for this scroll, which is going to give us a bunch of affinities. So if we come into our empire development, you can see that is going to start giving us affinity points in all of the different categories, as opposed to us just being locked in order or chaos or any specific one of them. We could also use our spawnkin spell, and that is going to transform our lizard people into, I think, just slightly smaller lizard people. But it is actually good for us somehow. Oh, hey, we're also gonna get our first shop event. I know these were introduced with the giants thing. I don't actually know how these work. Wait, explore the world, immediately reveal the full world map? Okay, I'm just gonna quick save real quick because apparently you could also attack the shopkeeper. And I would really like to do that because honestly, that sounds really funny. So we're just gonna see if I can kill him. Oh no, it's an act of evil. I think we are slightly under-leveled for this, I'm gonna be honest. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take it back because I'm just using the advanced tactic of running at them blindly, and that seems to be doing quite well. Try as they might, your eldritch horrors are no match for my giant boulder. Okay, so what do I get from killing the shopkeeper? I get an achievement. And not really anything else, to be honest. Okay, I actually just looked it up. To kill the shopkeeper, the achievement, 0.7% of people have this achievement. So now that we've successfully robbed the shopkeeper for really no good reason whatsoever, that wasn't even worth it, we're just gonna go move on. I love my alignment. Recent alignment changes, no recent evil actions. You know, one of the things that sucks about recording sometimes is that if you turn music on, it doesn't make sense kind of cutting from thing to thing. So I usually play with music off. So instead of listening to game music in the background, because I have like an audio capture, I'm listening to the Darkest Dungeon soundtrack. On my stream, I've been trying to do a Darkest Dungeon Nuzlocke, and it is one of the hardest yet most fun things I've ever done in my life. So finally, we've gotten to our tier 2 tome, and that is gonna allow us to listen to the guy outside rev up his motorcycle. That is gonna allow us to move on to our next tome, which will be, if I can find it, there we go, Tome of the Inquisition. Mass Condemnation, Inquisitor's Mark, Inquisitor. We're also gonna recruit our third hero, and it's I like how short all of my guys are compared to everybody else. I guess they were okay with me enchanting our whole race and decreasing everyone's height by like 2 feet. I just realized we're actually large enough where we can just walk through the water, and I think we could pretty easily engage these guys in combat. Oh my god, yes. Okay, yes. My leader is so massive that he is just standing in the ocean. And as you could probably imagine, if he could stand in the ocean, that means by some insane miracle, he can find an ice boulder somewhere in the depths of the sea to toss at the enemy. Of course, my main weapon right now is also just sailing a boat at them and ramming it full speed into a penguin. And the penguin has now killed himself. And now that we are at level 7, we can get Unyielding, and that is going to give us dispelling 1 negative status effect every turn, as well as we already have Resurgence, so if he dies, he's just resurrected at the end of the fight if we win anyways. So we're in another water battle here, and it is rapidly becoming to the point where we have so much temp health. We have already 5 stacks of Strengthened, plus 30% critical hit chance, ridiculous levels of movement, and a war banner. My Rally of the Legions now also has just an insane amount of units that we can just spam out immediately. We are at the point though where I'm gonna have to go after a big scary dragon, man. He is level 12. Also, he's on his way to my capital. He's got a ton of armies that are here. We haven't declared war yet. Okay, so I'm about to do something that may or may not be a good idea, and that is to declare... Oh my goodness, he's got a ton of allies. Mr. Collector Man, who is very scary, who is basically like entirely undead units. This is gonna start so many wars. Very well, Jack Skellington. She. And of course, this is going to call in all of the other dragons on her side. All right, I just barely have enough movement to get here with all of my armies, but I think I can actually enter combat. Yes, I can enter combat. And most of my army is just militia with sticks. They also have a collector enchantment, so they're gonna start summoning. Yeah, okay, he can He could summon a lot of units. I am really hoping, all right, if I can actually land this taunt, oh my God, that is amazing. So that's gonna stun their main guy for just a little bit. And now we basically just have to overwhelm them with a ton of really crappy units. It's basically one massive battle. I mean, most of his army is skeletons and resurrected absolutely terrible units, while mine is honestly not much more impressive. I actually didn't realize how good my Inquisitors are because they could, I think they could condemn, oh my God, look at all the debuffs. So now they are slowed, stunned, condemned. Wow, okay, yeah, that's not bad. My basic militia are going to kill them overwhelmingly. Mr. Skeleton is also up to some pretty crazy levels of defense. Holy crap. So I could just smack and that is gonna do so much damage. 56 damage from my militia. For the Imperium right now, my boys are holding the line. They do not have very much health. They do not have very much survivability, but by some miracle, they do so much damage. And that is their leader dead. Was that 85 damage? That is more than the entire max HP of half their army. You know, at this point, I'm convinced that the only reason my militia are just not dying is because half their army is spellcasters and my people just don't even believe magic is real. Which, to be fair, when you have a leader that does something like this, it's easy to see why you wouldn't be afraid. We lost some good militia, some good men, although we did actually gain some pretty nice bonuses, and more importantly, what is that? Disenchanted is what it is, but more importantly, we are heading up towards our tech tree. So right now we're on level 2 tomes, but when we get to the max level tome, it is called the Tome of the God Emperor, which gives us a mass revive to resurrect all units on the field that have zeal. Spoiler, all of our units have zeal. And I just witnessed my ally make the biggest mistake ever. Oh man, my ally just suicided 2 armies into the Dragon King, and it created an additional 2 stacks of undead units that I now have to fight. He is level 13. He looks very frightening, alongside a massive amount of other buffs that honestly I could not be bothered to read because this is very scary. Okay, so I think I've done all the preparation I can, so the only thing left to do is to fight Miss Collector in a fight that is clearly not remotely favored. Oh, okay, okay, that was turn 1. The Collector has so many abilities, it actually requires me to continuously scroll. So I hope is that I'm gonna be able to use my giant to basically try and clear everything over here before they attack me. I have a warding bond on here to give him a 50% damage reduction and transfer all damage over to this guy. So I am really hoping that he is able to do this. My plan right now is essentially run away from the scary dragon man. And, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be able to run very far because he's very fast. In my eyes, the only hope I have is that the giant is able to just completely trounce everything over here, and I am not entirely sure if this will work. Okay, never mind. It is physically impossible to run away from the dragon. If I try to attack him, the retaliation attack is just like an instant kill. Please land this taunt. If I land this taunt, oh, okay, that might actually work really well. I think we're actually doing it. We've just surrounded him with Inquisitors, and right now, I feel so bad for my hero here. He has to tank the Dragon Lord himself, also deal with a bunch of zombie summons. He is simultaneously tanking all the damage that my leader takes. Come on, true shot. The dragon is now down to 24 health. Blaze of the Horde. Oh my God, that'll kill him. So it's really just up to my main guy now to try and clear all the rest of the undead. In fairness, he's doing a pretty good job at it, but there's a lot of undead. All right, well, it's clear that my leader's gonna die, and there's not much I can do about that, but he can at least go out with a sizable bang. And now he's probably just gonna get targeted down, I think. They're using necromancers to resurrect necromancers now. Wait, no, I don't think they could kill him. They also just keep missing him every time they do try and hit him because I equipped him with a wind cloak that gives him like 60% evasion chance. This skeleton mage group is almost at full health, and because of all the stacking bonuses we have on him now, he is such a tank. And that is gonna be the fight. Oh my god. Oh, hey, What's up? Witnessing the destroyer hunting down one scout unit halfway across the map. I'm sorry, little guy. On the bright side, I do now finally have the ability to do this. So every time I kill an enemy, I get an action point back. It can only trigger once a turn, unfortunately, but it allows me to just continuously wail on people. So there's 2 enemies here. I could just kill one and then immediately get my action point back and just smack the other one for almost his entire health pool. Okay, I found myself in another fight with Big Scary Dragon Man, but I think we are finally going to be able to kill him. 106 damage, okay. And then I get an action back and I could use it to kill the dragon. All right, so I have grinded an immense amount to the point where my units are now riding these elk creatures that give them insane levels of power. I've stacked like 20 enchantments on my whole race. Whenever one of my units dies, they actually self-revive for 1 turn, and my leader is now an absolute megalodon backed up by other frost giants. And of course, I now have to fight a battle against the red dragon, who is all about hand-to-hand combat and trying to beat the crap out of people. I wasn't really recording up until this point because I didn't realize how bad this was actually gonna be, and this is just a full team of dragons and demons versus this full team of zealed up peasants, zombies, and elk. Because of one of my enchantments, all fire actually turns into cleansing flames, which is actually a bonus for all of my units. So these dragons are no longer even breathing fire. They're breathing like holy dust that benefits me. So we're just gonna try and buff everybody right here. There we go. And I think I can actually kill one of these dragons outright. And there we go. That is gonna allow my leader to just obliterate this baby dragon. There we go. Hunt that baby. All right, now I just have to hope that they can't kill my giant leader in 1 turn. I don't think they can because he actually has a self-revive on his own, and then I have another self-revive stacked on top of him, and I think that returns the first self-revive, so he can revive like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, see, they're not even attacking him because they realize he is unkillable. All right, well then first things first, let's just obliterate this dragon with my other giant. We can see giants are clearly better than dragons. So basically our entire strategy revolves around getting enemies low enough, so he's about to die, so now I can AoE down this guy, which will give me back another action point, so I can smack their leader in the face again. All the while, I am going to kill one of his heroes right here, then use killing momentum to get 1 more space, stand right here, and then kill his leader. Now we can just magic missile. Wait, is he throwing the wand? You know, I'm beginning to feel a little bit of deja vu because, well, you can hear it behind me. It is an entire undead army that is spawned out of thin air, which means I need to once again grind through a pretty sizable force of undead and 2 dragons. I'm not sure if they're just gonna like pop a 3rd dragon. Oh, there it is, the 3rd dragon. If you couldn't tell, the amount of dragons that I have had to deal with thus far has been a lot. Every single army seems to have more and more and more dragons. All right, so they're actually gonna kill my leader, which, you know, that sucks a lot normally. Oh, look at that, he's back. What I'm gonna do now is make my guy even more insane because we are going to give him a new weapon. A weapon with an ability that turns everything I kill into undead zombies, as well as probably a little more critical hit chance. The Heavy Giant Axe of Zombies. Bravo, Vince, you've done it again with the naming. And we're researching a Shrine of Smiting, which has a Prayer Blast, literally Biden Blast, but for What are you talking about, man? A prayer blast that gains up to, I think, 40 additional damage if I have a bunch of faithful units on the battlefield. But there's still one last thing I want to do, and that is get the Tome of the God Emperor. Where is it? There you are. Because this crap has some of the most busted garbage I have ever seen. Also, you know, minor thing, my people are now going to become celestial angels. Just a little tiny tidbit. So I stacked up an entire army of nothing but militia and a single shrine of smiting and Jack Skellington. So I have no idea if we could do this. This is versus a calamity dragon. Don't even know what that is. An obsidian dragon, a frost dragon. I mean, it is everything. So many units, and they're all dragons. Wait, how much damage is this smiting plate? Oh my god, it does half his health. Because I have so many faithful units stacked on the map, this just basically kills a small dragon. Hit this guy with the Mega Prayer, which is gonna do so much damage. And then I'm pretty sure I can use this to move a little further. Smack this baby dragon, because, you know, that's what we need to do. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It would turn into... Wait, the zombies have full movement points? Okay, this is one of his heroes. He's level 7. He's got, assumedly, some pretty good equipment. Oh, my God, yeah. Tier 4 armor, Tier 3. They almost one-shot him. All right, they did actually hit my leader really hard. And that is obviously not so good. Which is why it's so convenient that we have an ability to literally heal him for 130 HP. And by the way, I didn't realize this, but this Shrine of Smiting, it does not have a cooldown. This is 84 damage. And then obviously all I have to do is I just smack him, create one group of zombies. Those zombies attack this guy, which allows me to hit this guy and turn him into a group of zombies now. I think I've actually done it. And honestly, it wasn't even that bad. The militia are just so strong because they just don't die. I am also going to cast Exalted Champion on him, and that is going to give him some insane bonuses. I can curse, and then I immediately one-shot this unit, turn them into zombies. I can one-shot these guys from full health. Oh, that was pretty easy. I'm not even using any of my units. I'm actually just passing the turn over and over because I want to see if they could kill them. And thus far, they have killed one unit. 5 turns later, and all that progress they did, mass revive. What, it revives the zombies too? That's not okay. So if we wanted to take this to literally unbeatable levels, all we would have to do is later in the Empire tree is Death Magic, which gives you the ability to regain casting points as units die. If you combine that with mass revive, I'm pretty sure you could just endlessly cast spells and endlessly use mass revive, and basically you cannot lose. My original goal was to beat all the different dragons, but I'm gonna be honest with you, didn't realize it would take this long, so I am gonna call it here. But this has been pretty fun revisiting Age of Wonders 4 since the last time where I used Cthulhu to win an election. Also, thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. You can click the link in the description for a free bonus pack for both PC and console players, whether new or haven't played in 6 months.